À Dakar.
This ceremony marks the end of the permanent French military presence in Senegal.
The withdrawal follows a wave of military coups and rising anti-French sentiment across West Africa. France has also pulled out troops from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire and Chad in recent years.
So today I'm diving into a massive turning point in West Africa's fight for sovereignty, where Senegal has delivered a knockout blow to France's colonial legacy. On July 17, 2025, France officially handed over its last two military bases in Senegal, wiping out its permanent military presence in West and Central Africa. This game-changing moment, marked by a ceremony with top Senegalese and French officials, is a bold declaration of independence led by President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. From Dakar to the Sahel, African nations are taking back control, and Senegal's move is leading the charge. Trust me, you won't want to miss this deep dive into France's exit, its impact on West Africa, and what it means for the continent's future. Hit the like button, subscribe for updates on African and global affairs, and let's get right into it. Let's break this down. France, the former colonial giant that once ruled vast parts of West and Central Africa, has been shown the exit in Senegal, ending a 65-year military presence. The Handover Camp Geille, France's biggest base in Senegal, and its airfield at Dakar's airport is a monumental step toward sovereignty. Top brass from both nations, including Senegal's chief of the general staff and the head of French forces in Africa, were on hand to witness this historic moment. It's a loud and clear message. Senegal is done with foreign military dominance and ready to chart its own path. This withdrawal is part of a broader wave sweeping across Africa, where former colonies are rejecting France's lingering influence. Senegal's move follows similar exits in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Ivory Coast, where France's military footprint has been erased or scaled back. For Senegal, a nation that's been one of France's closest allies since independence in 1960, this is a defining moment. It's not just about closing bases. It's about reclaiming control and redefining relationships on African terms. Let's unpack how Senegal's bold leadership is driving this shift. Now, let's talk about the man steering this revolution, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. After sweeping the 2024 elections with a promise to shake things up, Faye wasted no time demanding that France pull its 350 soldiers out by 2025. And guess what? They listened, packing up faster than you can say goodbye. Unlike the military-led regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, Faye's approach is a masterclass in balance. He's not severing ties with France, but reshaping the partnership to put Senegal first. This is leadership with backbone, blending diplomacy with a fierce commitment to sovereignty. Faye's vision isn't just about kicking out troops. It's about holding France accountable for its colonial past. He's calling for an apology for atrocities like the 1944 massacre of African soldiers who fought for France in World War II. This demand for justice is striking a chord across Africa, where nations are fed up with being treated as second-class partners. Senegal's stance is a blueprint for other countries, showing you can assert independence while keeping the door open for cooperation, but only on equal terms. Let's dive into how this fits into a bigger African movement. This isn't just Senegal's story. It's a full-on African revolution. France's exit from Senegal is the latest in a string of withdrawals across West and Central Africa. Since 2020, coups in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have brought military leaders to power, and they've kicked out 4,300 French soldiers, turning to partners like Russia for security. Ivory Coast saw France hand over its last base in February 2025, and Chad's Kasai base was returned in January. Even the Central African Republic has demanded French pullouts, opting for Russian support instead. The vibe is clear. Africa's done with France's military shadow. The Sahel's growing unrest, threatening to spill into Gulf of Guinea nations like Senegal, makes this moment even more critical. France's 350 soldiers in Senegal were once seen as allies in joint operations, but their presence became a relic of colonial control. Senegal's handover Camp Geille in the Dakar airfield is a win for self-determination, proving Africa can handle its own security and future. This is a continent taking charge, and Senegal's leading the pack. Keep it locked as we explore what this means for global partnerships. Let's get real about what's at stake here. France's withdrawal from Senegal isn't just about military bases. It's about Africa rewriting its global playbook. President Faye's insistence on a partnership of equals with France sets Senegal apart from its Sahel neighbors, who've cut ties completely. This smart approach shows the world how to balance independence with collaboration. Senegal is not burning bridges, but building them on its own terms, and other nations are taking notes. Across Africa, governments are questioning foreign military presence, from France's bases to U.S. drone operations. France's only remaining foothold is in Djibouti, where a base with 1,500 troops will serve as its African headquarters, a far cry from its once sprawling network. Senegal's leadership is sparking a new era of African diplomacy, with nations like Ghana, Nigeria, and Ethiopia pushing for fairer global relationships. This is Africa stepping up, demanding respect, and redefining how it engages with the world. Let's keep going to see how Senegal is holding France accountable. Now, let's talk about the heart of this movement. Senegal's push to end France's military presence is about more than bases. It's about justice. President Faye's call for France to apologize for colonial atrocities, like the 1944 massacre of African soldiers, is a bold demand that's echoing across the continent. It's a reminder that Africa's history of exploitation can't be ignored. This push for accountability is fueling a broader movement, from Burkina Faso's resource nationalization to Mali's new security alliances. African nations are saying enough is enough. Senegal's resilience is shining through, especially as it faces regional challenges like Sahel violence. By taking control of its military bases, Senegal is building its capacity to tackle security threats on its own terms. Faye's leadership is a beacon for young Africans, showing that sovereignty is more than a word. It's a way of life. From Dakar to Nairobi, this moment is inspiring a generation to demand respect and build a future that's unapologetically African. Let's wrap this up with a look at what's next for the continent. So, where do we go from here? France's exit from Senegal is a massive victory for African sovereignty, but it's just the start. President Faye's leadership is setting a new standard, proving African nations can assert their independence while engaging the world on their terms. The handover of Camp Geille and the Dakar airfield is a symbol of a new era where Africa calls the shots. Senegal's ability to balance diplomacy with France while standing firm is a model for others to follow. As West Africa grapples with Sahel violence and economic challenges, Senegal's move inspires hope. By strengthening ties with neighbors like Ghana and Nigeria through platforms like ECOWAS in the African Continental Free Trade Area, Senegal is paving the way for a united, resilient continent. This is a moment to celebrate Africa's rise, where leaders like Faye are rewriting history with courage and vision. Thanks for sticking with me on this deep dive into Senegal's game-changing moment. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more updates on African and global affairs. And let's keep the conversation going. On to the next video.